Robert Brown was a tremendous man. Little do a lot of people know is right after I won, I actually sat down and spoke with him. And I wanted to get his opinion on some issues. And it turned into about every 10 days or so I would go see him just to ask him questions about how the legislative process works. And it always encouraged me to remember that I represent 53,000 people and vote with conscience when they needed to be. It's a tremendous asset.
Well, you know, Robert was a great colleague, but he was even a greater friend. He and I worked very closely together on a lot of policy issues, but I got to know him as a person, and I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss his friendship, his collegiality, his intellect, and his caring for people. The most important thing that I learned about Robert Brown is that he cares about people.
Tell us about Robert Brown.
Robert Brown was probably the most dedicated servant I've ever known. His heart was for the people. His heart was for safer neighborhoods. His heart was for education and availability to education to everyone. And that's how he knew that people could be lifted up. He was a fighter, he was smart as all get out, and he loved his community.
Thank you very much.
Robert was my friend. He did a tremendous amount for this community. He was a public servant. He'll be greatly missed.
I took Robert's seat, you know. When Robert left the board, I wrote a letter to the board and asked them to consider me coming on, and I was accepted and served 8 years until I hit the stroke and had to come off. I think you can say nothing but good things about Robert. Impressive person, quiet, but kind of very factual individual. Always had his facts together and always insisted on trying to get what he thought was right through. So, good man, will be missed.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And I wanted to say about Robert, Robert was my friend. I loved him. He was just a great patron and a real source of, you know, support. When Jackie and I went back to school for graduate school, you know, Robert was the person that we were the closest to in Macon. And when I went to South Carolina initially, Jackie was staying here in Macon with Robert, and our relationship just grew even stronger. So, you know, he's just such a great friend, a great person, and he cared for people, and he worked hard for people who were disadvantaged and who was poor. And that's my great orientation to Robert, is that his desire to really bring social justice has always been a part of his life, and it's something that I continue to try to strive at, and even my research and my scholarship is that same kind of idea about social justice here and the rest of the world as well.
Thank you.
Robert will be a vacuum hard to fill in our community. I mean, Robert, again, was one who spoke loudly for the people who had the least in our community. And so I think those kind of things are going to be extremely difficult to fill in our community going forward, because we're going to need the kind of advocate for poor people, for the disenfranchised, for a person just trying to move ahead, like a Robert Brown. I mean, he as they say, he was smart, and he knew how to, again, not only plan, but how to really attack the issues. And so we're going to miss that kind of strategy in our community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Robert Brown, my mentor, my friend, my leader. It's a sad, sad day and a loss for this community and me personally. I knew I could call Robert whenever I needed him, and he was going to give me the straight up, the honest answer, because it was never about him. It was about what he could do for other people, and I'm going to miss that. I valued that.